somehow when the general speaks, there's this command and you're just like, oh yeah, the general has spoken.
Well, whether his speech commands some, gives any kind of confidence at all is another matter entirely. Well, we have retired Colonel Hassan Stan Labo is a security consultant joining us this morning. Good morning and good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Morning, Mike.
Yes.
Morning, Ngozi.
Yeah, how confident are you about this new posture, especially when the military comes out and says, we are deploying new strategies and we're actually going to be taking the war to the enemy instead of the way it has been up until now? But of course, you would want to talk about, how much of a morale booster President Buhari's visit to them is.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The president's visit, I must say, it's really encouraging. I felt real good inside. Excuse me, when I was made to understand he was immediately moving into Maiduguri. And I think that's immediately informed the relocation of the Chief of Army Staff's conference from Benin, to Maiduguri, yes, within a matter of days. His visit has been quite welcoming. He has gone around seeing the troops in the hospital, assured them, giving them some level of hope, and so on. And the pronouncement about the government being ready to improve whatever is required to take care of the situation in the Northeast and so on. It's been very interesting. He has just done all the right things that is expected to be done. Our main concern now just remains the situation in the Northeast and how can we be winning the battles which we are losing. You have several battles within a war.
Yes.
We are losing a lot of battles. How can we regain all these losses? It is important, it's staring us in the face, and we've got to be very realistic in analyzing the situation and trying to see how we're able to come up with solutions to it. The chief's statement is interesting too, re-strategizing, moving from just being mere defensive to injecting some proactive actions, lines of actions, and so on. I think that's what we've all along wanted to see. And if they're going to bring that on board, fine and good. But these are just mere statements. We've got to translate them into actions before citizens or ordinary folks on the streets can really say, yes, I think these guys are doing the best.
All right. Now, when the Chief of Army Staff says, we can't remain defensive, we have to take the war to them.
Yep.
When they talk of taking the war to them, when your enemy doesn't really have a base,
yep,
how do you take the war to them in that
It's
regard?
a Herculean task for you. And he's already preparing the minds of everybody. We are going in search of them. We are not just going to sit here and wait and claim it's all over because we are not hearing any sound within the battle space. We are going in search because we know they are there. So we shouldn't be waiting until they surprise us again. This time around, we are carrying it to them. They've been the troubleshooters, now we are going to be the troubleshooters.
Yeah, but the real question is, if you say you're taking the war to them, let me rephrase that question.
Yes, my dear.
And you really don't know where these people are because it remains an asymmetric war. There is no specific place where you can find them. Isn't that where intelligence really comes in? I was talking with a security consultant yesterday, and
yes,
he reeled out some of the things that you could actually do, but unfortunately, you really cannot put it out there. Otherwise, I mean, the people you're going after would have the information, and they'll be more proactive.
In fact, you've taken it out of my mouth. I was nearly saying that, look, Ngozi, we cannot spell out all that is to be done
details
here in the air. I mean, they are also listening.
Yeah.
TVC is not a restrictive, they're also listening to you. They've subscribed to you too.
There you go.
So the fact is that I use the keyword search, which encompasses surveillance activities and so on. High tech will be engaged, all sorts of things. The air power is going to be of much use here, of much use and assistance. When they fly the reconnaissance flight and see what they can pick on ground and so on. It's going to be a joint operations because during the last, what is it called now? The talk which the Air Force just had last week.
Yes.
Okay. There was so much talk about air power involvement in these operations. And the outcome of that conference was very, very interesting. Very interesting. So we should look forward to seeing a lot of jointness. In the military, when we say jointness, we are talking about two arms coming together. And as far as the situation in the Northeast is concerned, the jointness is mostly within the air component and the land component. That's where the jointness is coming, because the maritime component has little or nothing to really, yes.
Yeah. All right, now let's go back to the incident that happened a few days, or about a few weeks now. The military has come to say about 39 soldiers were lost, although there are other reports that say about 100 or even above 100. It doesn't matter how many number now.
150 or so missing.
Yes, but right now, for soldiers who are there in the battlefield right now, some of them, those who died were their best friends, were their colleagues, people, their mates, they have worked together for years and all of that. What impact does that have on those who are in the battlefront trying to fight Boko Haram?
In the first place, I envisage a great deal of rotation exercise will start taking place. Those who are still left alive, haven't seen all this and so on, and especially those who have been due, who are already due for rotation, because it's a major problem in the operations. A lot of rotation exercise will begin to take place.
When you say rotation?
That is moving this set back. You've served your tenure, bring in fresh men. Yeah. The new guys will be coming in with all sorts of morale and look, we're crushing the enemy, we're kicking these buggers, I'm using our military language, and so on, you know. You come in with that spirit.
Yes.
You know, unlike the ones who are just saying, so Shehu is gone. So Ngozi is, sorry.
No, not.
It can be any,
you know, and things like that.
Yeah.
So you bring in individuals with fresh
Ngozi,
spirit, not your own, with fresh spirits and so on.
Yes.
I expect to see a great deal of that going on. And it's important we say this. I don't know if other speakers that have been here have been saying it, but I still stand to be challenged. Manpower remains a major problem in the Northeast. From my own estimation, we need nothing less than 100,000 troops in the Northeast.
Alone.
Yes.
That's half.
Nothing
that's
less.
half of the troops we have now.
I don't think we have up to half of that.
Okay.
I doubt it. I doubt. We need nothing less than 100,000 troops. Why? Because one major problem we keep facing is retaining areas we have recovered. Retaining areas we have recovered. If you don't, how do you retain these areas? If civilians are not there, you've not retained them.
Exactly.
If the places have been retaken over again by insurgents, or there are suspicious faces that are making people withdraw that, no, if this man is here, then I can't be here. These were the guys who started this thing, I can't be here. And things like that. You need military presence on ground to hold the ground. In most cases, when the air power does its job, the infantry is expected to move in, do the clearing, okay? Stabilize the place, hold it. If you don't have the manpower to do that, because that men that are supposed to do that are also expected to move forward again for additional task, then you are likely to lose this place. And given the mobile nature of the insurgents,
they're so fluid.
Highly fluid, highly. And then secondly, my dear, I hope we do understand that the heightened action we noticed with the insurgents in the last few months or 1 year from, going back, has to do most especially with the fact that ISIS is already losing most of its estates in Turkey, Iran, Iraq, even in the Maghreb region. And what is happening now is that they are falling back to their West African affiliates.
Okay.
They are falling back to their West African affiliate. And when you are falling back to the West African affiliate, the best ground to play on seems to be the Nigerian ground. Oh, there's enough people here who can get enough damages done here. I hope you know these are terrorists.
Yes.
They enjoy high casualty
level.
Not just coming and killing 2, 3. They want to hear 50-something, 60-something. Yes, it makes news. It sends a message to whoever they want such message to get to, that these guys are back again with a high level potential.
Of course, the military hierarchy. The Minister of Defense, President Buhari, Derby, and 4 leaders are to meet in Chad today, according to the headlines here. So what kind of collaboration should they be looking at now to not only reduce Nigeria's vulnerability, but that of other, the other, states that are affected by this insurgency?
They have to sit and really talk seriously about the collaboration arrangements that is ongoing. Some of the countries seem to be dragging their feet. If every country can successfully man its own border, but some of the countries don't even have what it takes to do that. And that is
including Nigeria.
Yet they are looking up to us to even assist them.
But to a very large extent, some would even tell you, some security experts like yourself have said that these countries have actually done a good job of, guarding their borders. But Nigeria seems to be, falling back in that area.
If they have done a good job in guarding their borders, why are these guys still infiltrating from their ends?
But is it clear that
that
these terrorists are coming in from their own end? When we still can't access Sambisa Forest? Because even though we've heard that Sambisa Forest cuts across a large portion, which certainly may not even be only Nigeria, but a heavy chunk of that forest is within the territory of Nigeria.
One thing we must all accept is the extent to which our borderlines are very, very spread out, and that some nations might lack the capacity to be able to man the entire extent of these borders, including us here, despite all our might and resources. Okay? And so, given all these, leakages, we still experience embarrassments by way of infiltrations and so on. But one thing that really is a bit disturbing to me is the fact that the French-speaking countries are about forming yet again another bloc. Yes. I think it's either France is giving the backing to it or not. Meetings have been held in Mali concerning that, and so on. To me, I see it as a duplication. The resources and efforts in that direction could have come into what we already have on ground and further strengthen what we have on ground now. And if France is trying to be of assistance to it, fine, such resources and effort from France could have been diverted in this direction.
But is it not a reflection of the dichotomy that seems to have always existed anyway?
Between
the
Anglophone and
Francophone.
Yes, my sister, you are very correct.
Yes. Now, the president's visit, in looking at it, a lot of people have been shouting, and calling for, demanding that the service chiefs, should be sacked. But his visit actually seems to have fallen short of those demands for the sacking of the service chiefs. As a matter of fact, he seems to have more or less just, admonished them to work in tandem, to work together to, put an end to this Boko Haram madness.
Let's do some strategic thinking.
Yes.
I really don't think the commander-in-chief is going to change his service chiefs. Ask me why. We're already approaching an election period. These are hands he's got some level of confidence and loyalty.
And trust.
Than starting afresh with a new team whom you yet don't know and you are still studying, or they are still studying you to understand your pattern and the way you do your things. If any change would come, I see it coming after the elections, not before the elections. Given the way we run our affairs here, our elections and so on, he needs trusted hands in certain places.
Is it misplaced trust? Is it misplaced confidence? Is that possible? Is that a possibility? I mean,
with this group?
Yes.
No, it's not misplaced.
It's not misplaced.
It's not misplaced.
That's needed to
he has their loyalty. It's not misplaced.
Okay.
Yes.
In spite of the fact that we're getting these results that are less than satisfactory.
Yeah, it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean.
You're right.
No, I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean. You could be having bad results on ground. Look at our own kids. There are some very obedient children whom you really like as a parent and so on. But they could have their fault lines. But that does not mean that you see him as a bad boy the way Ikenna is. You know he's a good boy, but maybe some mistakes are just coming in here and there. But Ikenna, we know him already.
All right. I like that illustration. It really paints the picture. But you were talking about rotation issues earlier on. When it comes to standards, are there time frames by which soldiers can be rotated? Or it depends on the kind of war that is being fought?
Thank you. Going by the UN standard, which every nation looks up to and maybe want to see as the best practice on ground. Going by the UN and NATO standard, you rotate troops in battlefront every 6 months. But then, that rotation exercise normally, or the duration rather, is informed by several other things. The number of troops you have on ground informs the extent to which, or regularity with which you rotate.
Okay.
If you don't have enough men, how do you rotate? And that's why some country will make their rotation 1 year. Some will make it 1.5 years. However, the teaching is that you do not allow the men in battlefront to get too fatigued that they completely lose concentration.
Okay, so what do you think has gone wrong now? I mean, when you talk about not allowing them to get too fatigued, and you had a number of soldiers who have been complaining that, you know, many of them have been on the battlefront for years without, you know, any...
I agree with you.
Yes.
Rotation is part of the problem.
It's a major problem.
Yes, it's a major problem. I've spent 3 years in an operational area when I was in the Bakassi.
I recall you telling us, and it was just as soon as you got married.
Yes, and that was 3 weeks after I got married. When I moved in and stayed there for 3 years. Before you come back to see a woman you married.
I can just imagine.
3 years, and sincerely, by the 3rd year, even as an officer, I was a bloody lieutenant or second lieutenant then. Sincerely, I wasn't myself anymore. I was the battalion intelligence officer. Things got to a point where I had to walk up to my CEO's office and told him, sir, I want to be relieved of the appointment of the int officer. Because I was seeing it as if maybe it's because I'm the intelligence officer. That's why I'm not being rotated. Somebody else can do this job. If I fall down and die, will somebody not do this job? And he had to tell me, look, you are a very young officer. You don't know what's happening. You just bloody well remain there, and never you do that again. Walk up to your CEO and say, you want to be relieved of an appointment. Never in your life dare do that. I'm taking it easy with you because you are a very young officer. You don't know anything.
Don't understand.
You don't know anything. I'm seeing you like my son. Bloody well get back to your duty post. And that was how I paid compliment, turned about, and went back to my duty post. 6 months later, we were rotated. So that is it. Sincerely speaking, rotation is a major problem. And where is the problem emanating from? We don't have enough manpower. I have talked about how we should be able to address some of these manpower issues and so on, be it short-term, medium, and long-term arrangements for us to address some of these things. It is important. And I hope this will be an eye-opener to us. Henceforth, even after the Boko Haram thing, we should keep recruiting. We should not stop in any way recruiting. The problem we are facing is the same problem.
But the NDA recruit. In fact, every year, people are graduating, soldiers are graduating from the NDA and other military, what is it called, institutions abroad.
We really don't have so much problems with the strength of officers. Okay, because, for instance, a second lieutenant or a lieutenant who is a platoon commander is expected to be commanding 30 men. So we don't have much problems with that. The problem actually lies with the other ranks, the foot soldiers. Okay, that is where it is. Given our size, given our role within the sub-region, and so on, and the fact that we also use the military as an instrument to project our foreign policy out there, and so on. So there is a need for us to maintain a large, adequate army to be able to play all this role. Look at our borderline, running to thousands of kilometers. There are lots of things which you need men for. Today, we cannot man our borders. Look at the amount of illegal flow of small arms and light weapons and so on. If only we had a standing patrol force overseeing the border, this wouldn't take place. We need men. We need to go recruiting, seriously. I think it will even help the unemployment
Well, the
situation.
real question now is how do you make the military more attractive to the young Nigerian to actually think of, you know, joining the military or
Well,
joining the
but if
army?
if
in
you
the
go-
US, there are incentives.
Yeah,
you
but,
know,
but if you go to the recruitment process, there are lots of people applying
It's
to,
what I was
and
just
they
trying
don't,
to
and
Exactly.
they don't qualify.
Yes.
Okay,
Many
yes,
of them
fine.
still don't
yes.
qualify.
You may
Most of
have
Is
them
there
don't
substance
qualify.
abuse? Is there a possibility of that? Because I read something like that. There's a
Possibility of,
level of substance abuse within the military that may actually reduce their capacity or capability to, you know, push back, you know, this security threats.
No.
No,
No.
absolutely
no.
none.
And I know why I'm
Okay.
saying no, because
Okay.
it's common in the military for commanders
Because
to
we
watch
hear
out for
it's-
things like that.
it's- Okay.
All right. We
All right.
I hope you know
we
we'll not call alcohol substance abuse.
Okay. We have to end it here right now. Colonel Hassan Stanlabo, retired security consultant. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
I appreciate it.
It's always great to have you
Very
around.
much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.